What's happening, people? Welcome back to the Scarfey Spurs Talk Podcast. In this episode, we'll be reviewing that Brighton draw, coming back from 2-0 down to draw the game 2-2. And we'll be looking ahead to Doncaster in the third round of the Carabao Cup. Sorry, getting too carried away there. FA Cup's coming later next year, but that is the third round of the Carabao Cup. It's at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Wednesday, a game that we should all agree that Tottenham should be winning. But that is the plan for today. But I'm joined by three fabulous guests. I'm going to introduce them because you know who I am. I'm Harry Scarfe. I'm your host as always for tonight. Firstly, Simon, welcome on to the podcast. How are you doing? And tell people where you're joining from.
Hi, my name is Simon. I'm doing well. I'm joining you guys from Sweden, the beautiful Scandinavian country.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much for coming on, Simon.
Thank you.
So, Gary, welcome back onto the podcast. Great to have you on. How are you doing, firstly and most importantly, and also where are you joining from? Oh, you're on mute, Gary. Take your time.
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, doing good, mate. Thanks for having me back on. Not in as nice a country as Sweden, unfortunately. I'm in sunny old Cambridge. So, yeah, doing pretty well. But I say thanks for having us on.
No, anytime. Thank you very much. And last but absolutely not least, Matt, thank you for coming on. Tell people where you're joining from, and I hope you're keeping well.
Things are going well. I am joining from Lincoln, Nebraska, which is about as dead middle of the United States, the 48 states, as you can get. So a little bit earlier in the day for me than you folks, but certainly not as nice as Sweden over there, which I
That's
definitely
cowboy
wish
land. That's nice. Nebraska, you got some nice nature out there.
we do. It's better than Kansas, our southern neighbor. Way more boring. So if you're gonna come to Nebraska, not Kansas.
Love it. Thank you all for joining. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. If you're listening on a podcast platform afterwards, please drop a follow and a 5-star review. A few things to stay. We'll start firstly with, I'm delighted to say, having done some research, that the YouTube channel has been watched by football fans, mainly Tottenham fans, in over 53 countries so far in 2025. So that is amazing, and it was absolutely stunned. Look at it, all the list of percentages, so incredibly fascinating, and a lot of listeners actually from the likes of Sweden, USA, South Africa. So big up to all of you. Actually surprised by the percent. I thought, I'll be like 80 or 90% UK. I'm absolutely wrong. So that was incredibly, as I always say, baffling with stats like that. I love hearing people listen from. So thank you firstly for that. But now we're going to shout out the partners, because we do have a second partner in Everything Spurs Discord page. So welcome to them as our partners. They're one of the biggest online Tottenham communities with over 9,700 members worldwide. It's owned by Wilsey, who you'll know is a regular here on the Scarfey Spurs Talk Podcast, also a renowned Spurs content creator. Wilsey's also a proud part of my thumbnails team here. And inside the server, you'll find live match chat during every Spurs game, transfer news, rumours, lots of Spurs banter and debates, plus gaming, FPL and off-topic channels to keep things all fun as well. And between matches, a lot of calls going on in the world. It's basically the 24/7 virtual hub for Tottenham fans day and night. So if you're Spurs, make sure you get involved. And shout out lastly to our second sponsors in the Kitman as always, because you can check out the Kitman for all your genuine classic past season football shirts, shorts and scarves. Relieve former players and memorabilia goals with some of the retro memorabilia from the Kitman. If you use the coupon as well, secured this recently, Scarfey15, you can get a 15% discount. There we go. All exciting stuff. Let's get straight into it then with a Brighton review. For people who didn't see the lineup, picked by Thomas Frank was Vicario in goal, a backline of Porro, Romero, Van der Ven and a Doggy, a midfield of Paulinia, Bentancur and Bergval, and a forward line of Kudus, Richarlison and Odebear. Our 9 substitutes were Kinski, Danso, Spence, Gray, Sarr, Simmons, Johnson, Tell and Scarlett. Gary, can I start with you? What were your thoughts on, kind of at the time when it came out? Was there any real surprises in there for you?
Rando Kole Marani. I thought he was likely to start. Obviously had dead legs, didn't play. So that was the main surprise, I think, for me. I thought he was probably going to be the one that's going to come in, get some minutes, but obviously he took a dead leg. I'm assuming midweek. Obviously may have been a training, but him really. Expected Richarlison to play. Perlini, I thought would definitely come in. I thought, being how good Brighton are on the counter, I thought he was definitely someone that needed to be playing. And I thought the back five was kind of as predicted. I thought that Undogi needed to come in and get some minutes. I think it was a toss-up between Porro and Spence anyway. So, yeah, really, Moani was the one for me that was the most surprised. But if he's injured, obviously he can't play.
No, unfortunately, you're absolutely right. And we're talking about a player here, to be clear, who before joining Tottenham had only missed 2 games through injury in his career. So, Tottenham curse strikes again. I mean, the curse I'm worried about is that Wolves have lost, their first 5 straight defeats, and they've got Tottenham next. But no, reading too much into it. This is a different Tottenham under a new era under Thomas Frank. But Simon, yeah, let's hope so, absolutely. But Simon, I come to you on the lineup. I mean, are you surprised to see a little bit of rotation? Do you think that has something to do with obviously being a quick turnaround, a couple of games in the space of a few days because of playing Villarreal in the Champions League?
Not really. I mean, I expected rotations. I think Frank has shown himself to be really good at consistently rotating the squad. I was a little bit surprised Gray didn't get a start. I was hoping he would get a couple of minutes, or he got some minutes, but I was hoping he would start. I was surprised Xavi didn't play, but overall, I'm not too surprised. I was happy to see Udogo get a start too. So, kind of expected. I mean, you can never guess his lineups, which I think is a good sign of the squad depth that we have. But at the same time, I wasn't surprised to see rotations.
No, that's fair enough. Thank you very much. And Matt, I'll come to you lastly on the team. I mean, Udogi starting the game. I mean, it's great to have him back, isn't it? And are you surprised maybe how long it took to see him start? Because he's been back a few weeks.
Maybe a little bit, but I do know that, getting the multiple games in each week probably took a little bit longer to get him starting. But I also wonder if Frank looked ahead and said, okay, this is the kind of game that we need Udogi starting for, given the way Brighton tends to attack. You need him on the, he was brilliant on the defensive end, cutting down those, the side runs from their wingers, and then also brought a nice bit offensively. So I wonder if Frank kind of had this game circled as this will be the one you start, and kind of built them up to do that. I was a little bit surprised that Tell wasn't a bigger play up front for us as well. I know he's still kind of trying to figure out what the squad looks like for him, because keep in mind, he's only been, I know he got the whole summer. There's a lot of movement this summer.
A lot of late movement too.
Yeah, that's true. It did take a little bit to get some of these deals over the line. So I wonder if he's also trying to mix and match and see what he's got in actual game situations in different scenarios. But overall, not that big of a surprise. There's only a couple of spots that we can really kind of say 50-50, I'd have gone this or whatever. But in the end, we're not the manager. He said it the way he wanted to and got the result. So not a whole lot to complain about.
Matt, can I ask you about something? Because there's something I picked up with Frank speaking, both pre and post match, but in particular post match, when he's asked about Udogi coming back in. And Frank kept saying we have 3 good fullbacks. I absolutely agree with him personally, Porro, Udogi, and Spence. But Ben Davies, do you think that means that either he thinks he's not good enough, not up to scratch, nowhere near those 3, which I personally think, or do you think he sees as more of a centre back?
I think he probably sees him more as a centre back. Which, to be fair, I think is where he played most of his minutes last year during the injury crisis, basically replacing Van de Ven, if memory serves.
Can I jump in here? Because I just noticed that too. He said 3 after the game, but he actually, in one of the pre-game interviews, or I don't know, he said 4. So in my mind, I think he is.
Does that mean Gray?
No, he mentioned Davis, I think, but
okay.
what I'm saying here is I think, and I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this. I think he's careful to include Davis when he speaks, but I think that that comment about having 3 fullbacks is probably closer to the truth. Like I think he sees the 3 fullbacks you guys mentioned as the ones that he's gonna rotate the most. But I think he does value Davis as sort of a backup fullback of sorts. But I thought it was interesting.
You'll notice quite a lot with the way that he talks that he'll say the person's position first. So if a player can play in multiple positions, he's done this a couple of times I've picked up on. He'll use Javi Simmons for instance. He will say, Chavy's a great number 10, but he can also only plays out wide left, for instance. He said that on a number of occasions about 2 different players, and he's saying their main position first, but also saying, well, they can obviously play here. And I think in Davis's situation, I think he's probably taken him more as a centre-back than a full-back. I think he's said 4 and then thinking, actually, it's 3, really, because I think Davis is more of a left-sided centre-back, and then you've probably got Danto who would be the right. So I think that's
and also, I think like he probably doesn't want to get nailed down this early.
No, that's why I would say 2
something. Yeah, because I feel like
he'll say the 2, but genuinely, what he's done previously, and at Brentford, he'll say the player's main position first.
Yeah.
So that's where I take his sort of word of where these players are going to be.
Yeah, it also he did it too with the attacking pieces this summer when they were talking about left wing, and he didn't mention Son, and this was obviously 2 weeks, I guess, before Son wound up heading to the MLS. But it did catch some people off guard that, like, you've named this position. This is where he plays, but you didn't name him. So there's this.
I think this is this thing with Frank. Like he's been the coach of Brentford, and I think he's been very honest. He's been able to be very honest and just say what he thinks, and I love that about him. Especially after a game, he'll say, "We didn't play good. We did this good. We struggled with this." But I feel like he's finding his way in what he can be honest about and what he needs to kind of hold back. Because I think his instinct is to be totally honest, to just tell it as it is. And I also think like he's so tactically detailed. Like when he speaks about Udogie, he speaks about him being left-footed, opposed to Jed being right-footed, and how that works and what that means for the left winger and stuff like that. So I think sometimes he might not have everything thought out, but he's trying to be as honest as he can.
That's a good point. I always listen to Frank in the press conference, and it's a lot easier listening to him than if you look at quotes after, because the way he kind of says it, Frank, you're absolutely right. I think he kind of, he's thinking as he goes along, and it's really interesting to hear him speak. And honestly, I think he's quite funny to listen
he had
to.
Probably 5 journalists in his pressers, but here it's 20, and it gets aggregated, and like if he says the wrong thing, it can become this whole thing. And I think I'm not a natural English speaker. Don't want to shock you guys, but and he's not as well. So I can sense that he has to kind of think about what he says more when the pressure is on in another way at a club with the size of ours.
See, the only thing is the cynic in me thinks, he moved from 4 to 3 so that in the January window he could convince that we need another one because we don't actually have 4. Would be the cynical Spurs.
I think that's the thing. That's something Conte would do, or like Jose. But I don't know.
I don't think Frank would do it. It's just I'm just saying if you look at it from a cynical point of view, it's like, I don't actually have the depth I mentioned 2 days ago.
I think you made a good point earlier, Matt, that potentially Gray has been included in that 4. That it may very well be. I hope not. So I would prefer him in one position than moving around as he did last year. But he may have initially
Gray as the midfielder in the presser.
Yeah, so hopefully he stays as the midfield. But I think it was probably just including Davis there, and thinking about it, maybe Davis isn't going to be that left back for cover.
No, that's fair enough. Thank you.
Easy to forget. So.
No, thank you all for good points there. But let's move on to the game itself. In the 8th minute, we got the first goal of the game going to Brighton from Minter. I mean, Simon, we'll start with you. It was just onside. I mean, a blistering Brighton counter-attack, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, and I think that we sometimes forget how aggressively Frank wants us to press, and I think that whole situation was basically us taking a risk of pushing up, and Udogo went up to press, Bentancur tried to cover, and then you have Odeberg on the last line, and he's not that quick enough to recover, and then him and Romero are trying to kind of put him offside, and then Minte is the wrong guy. I mean, if he gets loose, you're not going to catch up. So I didn't really mind that goal as much, because I've kind of thought like that's one of those goals that you could concede in the Premier League if you're brave enough to play a high press. So yeah, it's just one of those things of us not really, executing the thing that Frank wanted us to execute to the level that you need to kind of get away with it.
Okay, good point. Thank you very much. Gary, to look at it from more the harsh point of view, because of course, we would have looked back and go, how do we not concede these 2 goals? With this first one, do you think Odeberg could have done a little bit more to keep hold of the ball up top? I looked at it and thought Brighton were very physical and they do well to win the ball back.
I mean, they're physical teams, so yeah, we could pick apart there. I think I'm an old school person. To me, that's offside. You can't score with your arm, so you shouldn't be offside with your arm. You should only be offside with a body part that you can score with. We try to overcomplicate football. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. It's a sleeve that's keeping him essentially onside, and to me, that's offside. Modern day is different. I get it. I know there's changes. We pushed up far too high in theory, but I think we were keeping perhaps that mentality of we've got Mickey van der Ven that can do that recovery run, and obviously he wasn't able to do it on that particular occasion. But yeah, we can try and find faults anywhere on the goals. I just that we're caught too high, we're caught napping, and we're punished for it. So we just need to make sure that we're better next time.
No, you're right. And Gary, can I ask you about, in particular, that offside? I totally agree with you, by the way. Even as a younger fan, I think you're absolutely right. But from, again, you're right. You can't dig too deep. But if we were going to be really picky, could we have kept that line a little bit better? Something we've done really well throughout the start of this season to maybe because we know it's obviously going to be tight. Got the semi-automated offside. Could we have done more maybe to push up a little bit sooner?
Yeah, I just think you're switching off. We just, the line wasn't that. If they're on the halfway line, stay on the halfway line. The guy's offside. That's it. They just obviously switched off slightly. Hopefully they go back into training and to work on it. It's a moment that's happened. There's a number of very fast players in the league. There isn't as many as him, and Mickey's probably got 90% of them, 95% of them in his back pocket anyway in terms of pace. So I think we just put this one down to switching off in critical areas, and hopefully that's worked upon. Because if we were doing that all game, and I didn't see us do that again, whereas last season we were doing that multiple times a game. So for me, the
goal was very reminiscent of a goal we would concede with Ange, right?
We would have conceded 2 or 3 of those. We would have lost by 4 or 5 on the weekend.
We did concede 3 of them last year in the second half when we were up 2-0 and they came back.
And we've worked. Look, we've switched off today. We switched off on Saturday, but we didn't switch off again, and we didn't make that same mistake again. And that's a good mentality to have. So hopefully, we're going to make mistakes, absolutely. So let's hope that they're limited.
Let's hope so. And as you say, it's all about learning. Your players, they're humans, they're going to make mistakes, but how you learn from that. And we'll get onto that a little bit later, but really impressed me, I agree, is a mentality, and in particular as well, fight in this game. But Matt, I saw suggestions on social media that Vicario should do a little bit better. I think that's incredibly harsh. Of course, he's gone to floor, and Minte's gone round him, but it's not really. I don't pinpoint this on Vicario. Do you?
I don't think that goal's on Vicario. I think the second one where he got a hand on it and it went off his hand, and he needs to be stronger with that. He timed it a little bit oddly. I don't have a problem with the first one. The backline got beat. He came out to close down the angles. Minta pulled some magician stuff with his feet to keep it away from him and went around him. That one's not on Vicario. Also, the offside thing. I'm fine with semi-automated offside not overturning it because it's kind of the spirit of the rule versus like the intent of the rule. It was close enough. You should just leave it, and unless it's like clear and obvious, you should overturn. So the first one, I don't have a problem with. This second one, that's a little bit harder to swallow and more on Vicario for.
If anything, I think Romero is the guy to look at. I mean, first and foremost, he's the one that put him onside, right? The line was drawn from Romero, not from Odeberg.
Right.
And then if you really watch him, like when he goes around goes around Vicario, could Romero get in there and slide tackle? Does he stop running a little bit, start jogging? A little bit, right? I don't think he saved it, but if there's anyone you could like put 10% on, it's Romero probably.
Yeah, that's certainly better than Vicario.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah,
I mean, I've had my complaints about Vicario in the past, but the first one was not on him.
Oh, I'd love a Vicario debate.
Made for another day. What's your opinion on Vicario then?
I think he's solid. I just think there are some things that if you want to consider yourself a top flight keeper, he should do better at. I don't know that his distribution is as good as it could be. He did, in fact, in this game, kick it right to I think it was in the second half where he tried the kind of halfway distribution, not like to his left or right, but kicked it out in front, and it went right to a Brighton player and kind of put us in a tough spot. I don't know if I can complain about the second goal he got a hand on, and he just needs to be a little stronger. But my biggest thing is every time a goal goes in, it's like he gets up, whether it's his fault or not, he gets up and starts yelling at somebody, and that's just it's just a bad look because sometimes it's warranted, but sometimes, dude, you probably should have gotten there and you didn't, and it's not the defender's fault for like getting put on ice skates. So
you're not 100% convinced on Vicario. You might think you could address that next summer.
He's clearly the best option we have right now. Could we look? It's not for me to say who do we go out and get. Could we have stolen Donnarumma from Man City? That'd been nice, but then again, 50 mil on a keeper's pricey. Like that's especially when we have the complaints about the striker position. It's a little steep to give that same money to a keeper. But yeah, I think the problems that we have are not necessarily on Vicario. I'm just saying there are some things that frustrate me.
Not on him.
There's some things that frustrate me about him, but it could be far, far worse.
It was a poor clearance from Bergvall. He should have been putting it into touch if he's in danger. We had three players around the guy, didn't close him down, and look, he's been caught by it's not even a worldie. He's been caught out, but we should have been doing a lot better. Again, both goals are stupid errors that we could have stopped. Bergvall, I absolutely love Bergvall. I think he's unbelievable, but he's trying to be too clever there. He could have just knocked that out of touch. As young kids taught, if in doubt, kick it out. That's
right.
That's saying as kids, right? If in doubt, kick it out. And there's no I don't care if he kicked it out there. I'd have probably been a bit annoyed and gone, oh, come on. But then looking at it, there's nowhere for him to go. He's forcing something that's not there.
Especially if you're not going to look up, because he looks down and kicks it, so he doesn't really know where it's going. I mean, I just want to say on
players around him as well that should have closed down bad, but Vicario should never have been.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think like there's 3-4 things before you get to Vicario. I think Vicario should have saved that. With that said, it's a knuckleball, so it's going one way and then it's going the other. But even with that, he should save that. But I'm with Gary. Like nobody closed down, so he's not closed down on. When we try to get out, we make a mess out of it, and then that clearance of Bergvall is horrendous. So I think like there's
anyone
game to go around.
Really.
Yeah, And overall, I think like
yeah,
and the thing I thought about the first half in general is like if we pride ourselves,
we're gonna get onto this.
Yeah,
He's jumping the gun.
I'm not gonna
go on. No, go on. You're
just
fine.
because we're in the flow. But I just feel like if we're gonna, my feelings after that first half was like, if we're gonna pride ourselves on the defensive side first and build this team under Frank on that side, we can't concede those kind of silly goals, because both those goals came from individual mistakes when the team kind of just didn't defend as well as we have before, right? And that can happen, but we have to do better at the thing that we're good at if that's where we're going to build off of, right? So, and just on Vicario in general, I think I get what you're saying, Matt. Like, I think he's like an 8 out of 10 in a lot of things, but he's not a 10 out of 10. But I think we have to remember how hard it is to find someone that's 8 out of 10 in all those things, because he's kind of, if you look at his distribution, for example, and I said this to Harry before, like, I think he's criminally underrated, because he's like, I think he had the best pass completion under Ange when he was forced to play short. His long balls aren't like Raya or someone like that's elite at that, but they're still good enough. I remember most of our fans said he won't play under Frank. Like, Kinski is Frank's type of keeper, but he's doing well, right? So, and he can come out better, be stronger on corners and stuff like that. But he's so good at what he's really good at, and the other stuff he get a pass grade on, and a lot of times a little bit more. And there's like maybe 10 keepers in world football who are at that level with his experience. So I think sometimes we're a little bit too harsh on him in general.
Oh, I'm definitely nitpicking, but it's just because, like, when he makes a mistake, it kind of sticks out to me, which is not for him, because it's like, well, you got 9 things right and did the one thing wrong, and we naturally focus on like the one thing, right? It's just
like every 3 or 4 months he fucks up and we go, oh, there he goes. But we forget like the 3-4 months. But I'm with you. Like, when he fucks up, he's really obvious with it.
And in fairness, he didn't have an error that led to a goal all of last year, I believe. So there is that. But it's just like,
he's had one error leading to go in 2 seasons. So
sometimes the distribution just seems to put our back line or the pivots in a little bit more trouble than I would like them to be sometimes. Again,
I'm just watching the goal now. So the Brighton player takes on the edge of the box. There is 3 Tottenham players in front of him.
Yeah.
There's 3 Spurs players in front of him, and one just flicks a leg out. One doesn't even attempt to challenge. And
I think it's Palhinha, Bentancur.
Palhinha flicks his leg out. I think there is Pedro Porro doesn't do anything. And to be fair, Bentancur is probably about 5 yards behind Palhinha, and he's got a player behind him. So, look, we could have potentially closed it down, but there is a big gap. But there's no disputing that Vicario should have done better on that.
Yeah, and look at Vicario, how he's standing. I think he's not expecting a shot. Like, he's not expecting us to lose the ball, so he's a little bit too much to the right. So I think the whole kind of defense is just caught off guard. And
I think he got caught a little flat-footed, and that cost him the extra.
Yeah, and it's a little bit. He's standing to his right post instead of
So yeah, thank you. So that second goal was scored by Brighton, to be clear, from Owari in the 31st minute, which you've already moved on to. I'm going to unpick it a little bit more. Matt, I'm going to come to you. We spoke about Bergvall, he could have done better. We spoke about Vicario, he could have done better. But it was overall a great strike. And do you think an element of this, why it looks poor on Vicario's part, is because none of us really expected Owari to shoot from there? It wasn't really an opportunity to shoot from there.
Yeah, that's certainly part of it. When you get caught off guard, it's certainly like, well, why wasn't the keeper ready? Like, he should just naturally be, anytime the opponent has the ball or it's anywhere close to the 18-yard box, you should probably be ready. Granted, there are 3 or 4 players in his way. He probably doesn't have the best sight line. It was knuckling. But it's also like, I came from, didn't play a ton of soccer. Yes, I called it soccer because I'm stateside. Football growing up, but I did play baseball. And the rule in baseball was if you could get your glove on it, you should be able to catch
Matt,
it.
you can change that. You have
I know.
agency of your own life.
I know.
You don't have to say soccer. Just
I do have to say that.
Matt, you were doing so well with that jersey, and then you've called it soccer.
Well, in fairness,
Matt, you can't blame everything on your upbringing. Right? Take responsibility for your life.
The Brits did invent the term soccer player, and then they changed it on us in the States and didn't send us the memo. So,
but you got the memo now, right?
I do.
Yeah. So,
but either way, I played sports where the rule was if you got your hand on the ball, you should be able to catch it or stop it. And so that's a little bit of I'll give them a pass on this one, but I'm just saying that's where my mindset is. If you get your hand on the ball, you should be able to stop it. But it was knuckling, it was tough, whatnot. But that's just my mindset.
Fair enough. That's a decent point. We won't talk any more about that goal because we have dissected it already. But in the 43rd minute, Richarlison scored for Tottenham to pull it back to 2-1. I mean, Gary, it was a great move, wasn't it? I know it might be scrappy in the end of the way it went in and that final part, but overall it was really quick, wasn't it? 1-2 touch football from Tottenham.
Yeah, good. Yeah, decent. I think we got lucky. I think Richarlison's in the right place at the right time, but I've always sort of called before that we need a box goal scorer, someone that's in the 6-yard box. Older people listening, maybe David will remember. Gary Lineker. He's in the box, and he's not going to score anything flashy, but he's going to score those the goals in and around the 6-yard area. And we need a striker like that. And Richarlison is in the right place, which is great. He took it well, just about, but. The play was good. Impressed with sort of the fluidity between them. I think leading up to that, we were always in the game, really. But I thought we were just unlucky with 2 individual errors that got us 2-0 down. But I think we were definitely in the game, and it was good to get a goal back. It's always good to get one before half time. That's always one of the best times to get an equaliser or at least one back in the game.
Absolutely, always a good time to score. Simon, Richarlison, right place, right time, and an okay finish in the end.
Absolutely. I was looking at the goal before we started the pod, and I'm looking at the kudos. Is that a shot or a pass, or what do we think?
I think he's shot.
It's a shot, right? Yeah,
I think it's a shot.
Probably.
It's a shot, and Richarlison is in the right place.
He was in my fantasy team, and he wanted to get me some points, but got me an assist instead.
The thing I would say is the way we conceded that first goal, that's how we scored our first goal, by pressing high. I thought that was kind of telling. We kind of got both sides of that tactic. Palhinha does a really good job at winning it back. There's other guys involved there too. Bentancur, who has actually had a really good game, I thought, did well both in finding Odeberg, getting it back, quickly making a decision to get into kudos, and somehow we got it in. I thought it was funny that Richarlison, despite being in front of a whole goal, still managed to shoot it at the keeper, who dropped it in to go. But yeah, it was good. We got one back. I really thought that it was impressive how, despite going down 2 goals, we never really let down. I mean, we still played with urgency. We didn't feel like we gave up on the game, even before halftime, where I'm sure Frank gave them an inspiring speech. But throughout the game we kept going, and I've loved seeing that kind of seriousness, that urgency throughout the start of the season. I felt that in the City game, I felt it in the PSG game. Yeah, I felt it this whole season, that except the Bournemouth game. I think we played with pace and physicality and speed throughout the 90 minutes. So yeah, it was a great goal.
Thank you. And at half time, Brighton went into it with a 2-1 lead. Matt, do you agree with Thomas Frank, what he said after the game? And we'll, of course, discuss the rest of the game, but this is something I want to talk about now, because he said that Brighton's 2 goals came against the run of play. Do you agree with that?
I mean, they weren't set pieces, so in that regard, yes. I do think that they were more so errors than natural build-up, counterattack, run of play. Going back to what Simon said, I would like to agree that, last year, and I know obviously different system, some different players, whatnot, but we were 2 up at half at Brighton last year. And then Brighton came back, and as soon as the first goal went in, we started to hang our heads, and it was like the balloon had popped, and you just knew what was going to happen. Now we go down 2-0, and we got one back at halftime, but there was never a head hanging moment. There was never a woe is us, we're down 2-0, let's just get out of here and try to make it. There was the work rate from Kudus never died off. That guy was everywhere and trying his darndest to do everything possible. And that obviously we didn't have Kudus last year, but I'm just saying like that didn't happen previously. But going back to the run of play, I mean, I guess because they weren't set pieces, but I also don't give them like full credit for build up team goals, whatnot. I mean, the second one was off the horrendous Bergvall error. First one would certainly be run. I mean, that's how Brighton plays, right? They kind of counterattack, get you with the speed. If they're not offside, then it's, their guy versus the keeper. So I would tend to agree with him with some caveats.
Okay, thank you very much. Simon, coming back to you, how do you think we played in that first half overall? Were Brighton deserving of their lead, or do you not think so?
Listen, I was pretty harsh at halftime in my initial estimation of how we played. I kind of felt like, as I said before, we can't concede those kind of goals if defending is what we build our game on. And I felt we were sloppy because I thought we had a couple of really good opportunities that we kind of wasted. I think sometimes we misconstrue, like we can see the midfield three, and Frank likes to play 3 box-to-box midfielder. He doesn't play like a creative 10 because we don't, or in his mind, he didn't have one that was ready to play. And when we see that, we see it's a pretty defensive setup. But in this game against West Ham, against Villarreal, we threw at least 2 midfielders up, and we pressed high. We threw bodies, and we played with a lot of pressure. And so we conceded a couple of counters. And I think I focused too much on those kind of counters. And to me, it felt like a 50-50 game. But rewatching the game, I thought it was pretty obvious that we dominated that first half. They got 2 goals from bad mistakes we made. So I actually think we played pretty well in that first half and got unlucky. I thought it was kind of an odd thing. I thought like the score line 2-1 up felt both harsh and fair. So yeah, I think we played pretty well, but probably one of our better halves actually on the ball. But yeah, the scoreline didn't really reflect that.
Thank you, Simon. And the 61st minute was a double Spurs substitution in the second half. We're moving on to now. So yeah, 61st minute, Simmons come on and Johnson come on. Bentancur and Odobert were the ones who made way. Gary, this was Odobert's first Premier League start of the season. What do you make of it?
I thought he done okay. I thought he was decent in areas. I think there's a definite lack of dynamism or creativity down that left. I think we're definitely struggling down that left. If we could find a Kudus that's on the left, I think we're a different side, dangerous team. We are dangerous in areas, but we need to be down there as well. Struggle a little bit with the left. I don't think we've really improved 60 goals and 150 appearances for Barcelona is pretty good, in my opinion, for Gary Lineker. But anyway, I thought he was pretty good, and a hat trick in an El Clasico. Not many English players have done that either. But yeah, I struggle with him a little bit. He's got so much promise there, but I haven't seen it. I think I was with Matt. I wouldn't mind just seeing Tell down there, get him some minutes and as well. But yeah, it didn't put up any flowers for me. That's for sure.
No, it's fine, thank you. And if people are confused, Gary was also referencing a comment in the chat from regular David Clark. People listening to the podcast platform.
Yeah, if you listen to the podcast, you're going to be really confused.
Yeah,
sorry. Do you know what?
He was saying
no, you're fine.
Gary Lineker was an average goal scorer, but he knows where the ability. The one thing Lineker did possess is the ability to know where the ball would drop in the area. 60 goals and 150 appearances for Barcelona. Scored a hat trick in the El Clasico. Plus, was a World Cup top goal scorer. He was an outstanding goal scorer. And at the end of the day, football is about two things really. One, don't let any goals in. The other one is score more than the other team. And he had the ability to do that. They're better than pretty much anybody in his time. But anyway, this isn't a Gary Lineker appreciation podcast. But I'm quite happy to sit and do a podcast on Gary Lineker if he was up.
Great player.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much. And I only say because I was listening back, I was in the car the other day, listening back to one of my podcasts, and I talked about a comment, and I thought, what's that idiot on about? I didn't even bring it up. It's made absolutely no sense listening after. But no, thank you, Gary. You're absolutely right, I think. But I want to dive a little bit deeper into Odobert. Matt, can I come to you? Because Frank said that it was a good first start after the game, and Frank, also went on. So would you go even further and agree with Frank that Brighton were afraid of him? Because that's the words that Frank used.
I don't know that they were afraid of him. I think it was Was it a good first half? Yes, I think it was a good first half from us, bar the two, mistakes that led to the goals. I'm not sure that they were afraid of him. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from Odobert. But look, we got to try somebody at left wing because we got to go. We got to find a left winger, and right now, nobody's really separating themselves from the group that we talked about on. I think it was Friday's pod when we talked about we kind of have all the same guys at left wing, and nobody's really separating themselves right now.
Is Richarlison in that answer?
Can I ask something? Is this Odeberg's first start? I think it is, right?
Yeah,
first Premier League start.
Because he was I think he was injured coming into the season, and he's come on a couple of times as a sub to get some minutes, but I don't think he started.
So not to take over, but piggybacking, and I'll throw it back to you, Matt. Like, the way to get there is to play someone and
right.
give them games, right? And I think, like, to me, it looked like it was his first game back, right?
Yep.
You need some confidence. You need to kind of get that match fitness in. You need, and especially I think for a winger, you need that confidence. You need to kind of
also new system.
Yeah, and he's not physical the way Kudos is, right? He doesn't play the same way.
It's
the
true.
ball doesn't stick to him in 50-50 challenges the way it does with Kudos. So he's got to work with his angles, and he's got to remember not to stop all the time. You need to play, angle himself in a way that where he can move forward when he gets the ball, so he moves with speed. And I thought in the second half he got past his defender a little bit easier, and he had that great opportunity. I think he had that cross that went to Bergwall, and Bergwall couldn't get his foot on the ball, cutting in. And also he needs to get that relationship with the fullback, right? With who played on the day? Not Jed. Udogie, who actually did get some space, and he had, I think, one or two great opportunities when he got down on the left flank on the outside, right?
Yep.
So I think kind of it's one of those things. I agree with you, Matt, and with you, Gary. Someone needs to take that position, but right now it's been, Xavi 2 games or 1 game, and then it's been Tell 1 game or 2 games, Johnson 1 game or 2 games. So I actually think he played pretty well, but I feel like he needs game time
I would
and some
agree.
confidence and feeling like, the coach believes him. And
Yeah, I would say at this point we gotta, agreeing with Simon, we gotta let these guys have some minutes and not feel like if you don't produce, you're out, like you're getting taken out for the next game, because that's no way to play. You can't go through the game with the pressure of I have to do something here, because all that does is lead to more mistakes. It did look like his first game, and it is a major system shift for him, right? Because the last time we saw him play a full game was under Ant, which is an entirely different spectrum of football than Frank plays. So I would give him some more time. I don't know that they were afraid of him, but I wouldn't say it was a bad showing by Odebear in any real sense.
Definitely an opportunity for one of them to take kind of that left wing position by grass. I think, like so Gary brings it up about Richarlison. Could it be him? And I'd say Odebear, could make a case. Could it be him? Could it even be Matthew Selz? So I'm not saying it has to be someone starting every single week, because you're not going to see that if we want to compete on all four fronts. But you do get the feeling that someone needs to do a kudos on that right hand side and really grab it, because I can't see Johnson personally, as much as I do like him, but I've defended him so many times, he's not quite the same, it appears anyway, on that left.
Well, he's so good at crossing with his right foot, Johnson, that he works as a natural right winger. Whereas, on the left, it's much tougher to make that same cross and make it go where it needs to. It also shouldn't be Xavi Simons. By the way, he needs to play the 10, because as soon as he came in as the 10, the offense opened like it was, just everybody going everywhere. There was free flowing. There was gaps. There was movement. He needs to take
the issue
the 10.
with Johnson playing on the left was that he would come in the same as Kudus. Kudus comes in on his left, but Johnson does the same. And while that's fine, when we're playing a left back that's also right-footed, we can't have two players cutting into the same position. So Odebear and obviously Ndoggy, one was cutting in and the other wasn't. That might have been better for Johnson to be able to, and better for the forward line. Johnson's a frustrating player. He scores goals and doesn't really do a huge amount else. But I'm going to say his name again. Gary Lineker scored goals and didn't do a lot of else. So it was a lot of, it was difficult that the game is to score. And he does that, but he's quite a frustrating player at times. And I think I go back to the original comment of if we could find someone like Kudus that can play on the right, that tucks in or plays with his left foot, I think we're a dangerous player. There's a lad at Manchester City that I think would be a lovely addition down that left-hand side. But let's see if we can spend some of Vivian Lewis's money in January for him.
That'd be nice. Playing on that left side, yeah, that'd be lovely. Right. Moving on, though, to the 82nd minute, because there was a goal, and it was a Tottenham equaliser to make it 2-2. It was actually a Van Hecke own goal in the end. And Gary, will stick with you. I mean, firstly, on Van Hecke, kind of his own goal, and for him personally and for Brighton, I mean, it's a moment to forget, isn't it, altogether? Yeah, Brighton throwing away a lead, Van Hecke coming off him. Can you understand how it happens? Is it one of those where it's a kind of forced own goal, or do you think he gets it wrong?
I just think it comes at him too quickly. He's unable to react or move. But I thought he had a good game. I'm quite a big fan of his. I think he's a very good centre back. Thought he had a good game. Just come at him. But the pressure was on, and the pressure had been quite high for a lot of that game, especially in the second half. The pressure was great, especially when Xavi Simons come on into the 10. He completely changed the game, I thought, in my opinion. He drove the team forward. You look at one of Richarlison's sort of weak efforts. He took that from the halfway line and really took the team on. He looked dangerous, could have scored as well from a Kudus cross. Went close on another occasion from out on the right where he sort of came in. He really changed the game, and I thought that his play in the build up to that goal was excellent. Everybody in terms of Brighton were very focused on him, made to shift the ball really quickly, and then Kudus with the cross. And I just think Van Hecke just couldn't get out of the way really, and it was just one of those things. But we could have won it really late on as well with Kudus again. But I was really pleased with the reaction, in my opinion.
Okay, no, absolutely. Thank you, Gary. And Matt, do you think firstly, do you agree with Gary that Kudus deserves credit for that delivery? Because that was an absolutely perfect delivery.
It was. It was. I feel like the discussion on this goal is similar to the one we had about the Villarreal goal, where the ball was perfectly placed. There was like it counts as an own goal, but it's the pressure from where the ball was placed that led to that. Because it was a perfect cross, and even though Tottenham guy in the box didn't get his body or head on it, it did put Van Hecker under pressure where he couldn't do anything. Yeah, Polina, there you go. Couldn't remember who was flying in to be on the end of that cross. I think it just caught Van Hecker in a bad spot, but I don't think if it hadn't been the cross that it was, I'm not sure that results in the goal. So we'll give it credit to Kudus, who that time I don't think he was trying to shoot. I think that was clearly a cross.
Yeah, absolutely. If it was, absolutely perfect. Simon, in my opinion, I think Kudus looked good in this game, but he struggled. Brighton defended him very well, 1v1 defending, man-to-man marking for a lot of the game. But I felt as more as that second half went on, especially after Simmons come on for whatever reason, if that was linked, I don't know. But Kudus seemed to have more freedom, seemed to beat his man 1v1 to the point Brighton made a sub on that side. But what would you make of Kudus' assessment? His game, do you agree with my assessment that I think he was good, but he was quiet because Brighton knew they had to keep him quiet?
Yeah, I think what's the name of the defender on the left side? I feel like Gary has that on the
Kategulu, is it?
Kategoglu, yeah, something like that.
I'm not even going to try because that's going to be embarrassing.
Yeah, I'll do it.
But he didn't really. He had
Kategoglu.
No disrespect.
Let's go with that.
This is horrible. Don't throw a third language in here. No, but I think he tired as the game went on, and so Kudus got more space and time, and I felt like he kind of recognized that he tired, so he took more and more risk down that side. And I also feel like when Xavi came in, it's another threat for the defensive line to that puts pressure on the left side, so it stretches the defense and it opens up more space, and suddenly you can be effective on both wings. So that helped. I thought the goal was funny because the cross was fabulous, but if Polina gets his head on it, it's not a goal, right? Because it's only goal if he misses it and he hits him in the crotch and it goes in. So in some respect, we got lucky in that particular situation, but we also got unlucky earlier where we could have scored.
I think we've lost Simon. So no worries. We're saying that we were unlucky nonetheless. I think we get the point of what he's saying. Unfortunately for him, that is bad timing to cut out and lose his Wi-Fi. Gary, happy with the point overall, considering 2-0 down and come back to get 2-2?
Yeah, I'd have took a point at the beginning of the game. I think a point away is okay, especially there. We haven't won there since October 2022. The famous Harry Kane scored. I think that might be the game where he volleyed the Coke bottle that came out.
I think it was. Yeah.
So it's not been a great place for us to go. We got, we lost them 4-1 at the final game of last season. They're a difficult team. I would have took that point. However, as the game was progressing, I was more in my mind and my heart really of like, we can win this. This is there for us. And I just think the 2 goals that we conceded are just sloppy mistakes. The offside, the first goal I just don't think is offside, but that's here nor there. But again, if we keep a straight line, it's not offside. It's offside. And the second goal, again, I think Bergvall should have been clearing it out of touch or being closed down better. But yeah, I would have took the point at the beginning of the game, if I'm honest. It's a difficult place to go. So I was more happy with the reaction, that our heads didn't drop, that we did that togetherness is clearly there. There is quality there. The more these players play together, you've got to remember that front four is brand new. They've only been playing together weeks, so it's obviously difficult there. New manager as well. So the reaction for me is what I was more excited and happy about, and I thought that togetherness was brilliant. So yeah, I was happy with that more than the result, which sounds a bit strange, but it's just the continuation of where we are as a team, and if we can keep improving as we are, then great.
Yeah, exactly that. Thank you very much, Gary. Matt, Gary mentions it there. It comes to that mentality. Did we show good mentality? Did we show good fight to come back from 2-0 down, not to give in, not to panic and get back to a 2-2 draw, and the fact that we could have even won it at the end as well?
Yeah, I agree with everything Gary said about the mentality, and Brighton's been a really hard place for us to go and get a result of any kind. So going into it, I was certainly hoping for, I was like, hey, if we could get out of here with a point, that's great. Road points are good. Get back home, hold the home field advantage, so to speak. I will say, though, that I think had the goals happened in the opposite direction, it may change our opinion on this, because we're looking at this as, we showed fight and had the game gone, I think, another 5 minutes, probably get the win because we were clearly on the front foot towards the end. But had we gone up 2-0 and then held on for the point, you're going, oh boy, did we just escape that one? And the defensive problems are still there and whatnot. So that being said, I don't think if that game happens last year, we get a point. I think we lose like 5-0, maybe 5-1. So it is a market improvement mentally, and the resiliency of the team is good to see.
Thank you, Matt. Simon, firstly, have we got you back? Are you reconnected and all good? Yeah? Think so. Yeah, we got you. Lovely. I was going to ask you,
I'm
Simon,
all good. But I'm sorry about that.
No worries. I think there might be a delay your end, but I'm going to try and ask you this question anyway. You're obviously an Ange enthusiast, and Ange kind of, standing by him. Do you agree, or do you think it's fair to say that we would have lost this game, and by quite a lot more if Ange Postecoglou was still the manager?
I mean, I think it's all about the context, right? Do I think we win this game if we're within those 10 first games of the Ange age? Yes, I think we win the game. Is it Ange with Romero and Van der Ven? Yes, I think we win it. Is it Ange when we have an injury crisis and it's February? No, we lose that game. I mean, it's all about when, where, what phase are we in, what players are on the pitch.
Okay, with everyone available, and Ange was the manager right now in this season, and we went to Brighton away, would it be 2-2?
With these players?
With these players, exact same signings, just replace the manager.
Who knows? Who knows? We'll never know, because
come on! What are you talking about?
I don't know. I mean, I think our team is better than Brighton. I think based on how we play, we probably should have won that game 2-0. I mean, if you exclude those silly mistakes that led to the goal, I don't know. I mean, the way I looked at Ange was that there was a lot of context around why we struggled in that second season. I thought it was more about recruitment and an injury crisis, and I definitely thought Ange had his issues and stuff that he didn't do as well as we're seeing Frank do now. But I also don't think it's kind of fair to put out to just say we would have lost that game if Ange would have coached. I think he would love to have Xavi and Kudos and Palinia and stuff like that. That's a lot of players that he didn't have, and he didn't have our best players fit for a lot of those games. So it's hard to say. But but the most important part is that we did win. And also, I mean, again, to my point about the urgency and the team that we've seen be so together and to be determined to win every game. I think a lot of that has to do with us winning the European trophy. So, I mean, I think the players that we have probably view themselves differently now than they did before they achieved that huge accomplishment, right? So, and that would be true even if Andrew was here. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. It's easy to want to draw easy and simple conclusions, but again, we are where we are, and I'm happy we're here. And I think Frank is doing a wonderful job, and I love the way he's made the most out of what we have and what we achieved last season. So I think we should be grateful for where we are and what we have, and that we got that 1 point. How about that?
I will agree.
Can we please stop talking about Ange Postecoglou?
I got the question. I got the question.
You play me.
I know. I will agree, except I will add context. Last year we played them in October, and we had
Christian Grace back in. How do we feel about Christian Grace? Anybody?
We had the same back five. We had Kulusevski, Betancourt, Madison, Solanke, and Johnson. They lost 3-2. So.
No, it's fair enough.
Anybody?
we move on from Ange. Gary does make a good point.
And maybe we lose in October next year when it's.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Let's see. We won't predict the future, but Gary, it will come to you. Do you think we could have won it at the end? Were we a more likely team? Frank thought we were.
Yeah, I thought we were. At the end. It was building and building and building, and I thought that it was coming. And I must admit, I thought the Kudus shot that was deflecting to the sort of the stanchion behind the goal, I thought that was actually in at one point. Yeah, I thought it was coming. Maybe we needed a few more minutes to get that goal, but I think it was definitely coming. Maybe the substitutions could have been made quicker. I don't know. It's hindsight, 2020, I guess. Again, I go back to your last question. I would have took a draw at the beginning. Yeah, Wenger out in the comments.
Yeah, another comment there.
I would have took a point at the beginning of the game. So yeah, we had enough. Let's be fair. So it's difficult because we want to win, but I would have took the draw at the beginning of the game anyway. So in hindsight, I'm happy that we got what I was hoping for to start with, as a minimum. Right. By the way, obviously I want us to win every game, but
no, absolutely. Matt, I'm going to ask you one question, so then I know you have to jump. Do you think a draw is a fair result overall?
I would say so. I mean, we got punished for the mistakes we made and then stuck it out and capitalized on open run of play and, some defensive errors on their part. I would say that that's probably correct. Would I say that we were the better team for most of the game? Yeah, I would. But, football doesn't always reward you for that. So I would say that all in all, a draw is probably a fair result. But again, had we gotten, maybe 4 more minutes of stoppage time, probably would have gotten out of there with 3 points.
Fair enough. Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate you coming on, joining us from the USA. Where can people find you across the socials?
The main one is Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at the Salesman, TheSelzman. That's the main one that I'm using.
Lovely. Thank you so much for coming on. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well.
Thank you, up the Spurs. Right, let's finish the Brighton review. Then we'll move on to Doncaster. So, Simon, I come to you. Overall performance, we have spoken about it, but are you happy overall? Because Gary O talks about the importance of the performance. Is it fair to say sometimes the performance does matter as much as the result? Of course, football's a results-based business, but it's no good if you're not performing well, because in the end, the results will catch up with you.
Listen, I'm such a boring grown up about this. You know how I look at the big picture, and I'm trying to take a long-term view. Frustrating as it is for you, 18 as you are, I'm 40, so I look at it from a very kind of mature point of view. So to me, I'm really happy with Frank. I'm really happy about their performance. I'm really happy about the way the team is clicking. But I'm also patient. Like when I see us struggle in the final third, because I do think that we're struggling a little bit. I try to look at the context of these players haven't played with each other for a lot of games, right? I mean, Kudos, Palinha, Xavi, Odeberg was injured for most of the last season. Madison is out. Kulusevski is out. There's so much to kind of consider. And despite that, Frank has us flying. One game, one loss out of, 6 games now? Not considering the PSG game, but in the league and in Champions League, we've looked really good defensively. We looked really structured in all phases of play. We still have room to grow in, but we're looking good despite rotations, heavily rotating sometimes. And yeah, so I'm really happy with the result and where we're at in this stage of the development.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much. And lastly, on Brighton, Gary, talk to me about Xavi Simons, his cameo in that number 10 role, because, he arguably changed the game, didn't he? And maybe was unlucky, not to score, to score as well. He could have easily picked up 1 or 2 goals.
Yeah, 2 good chances. One cutting in from the right that went close, good save. Another one that was cut back to him from Kudos that probably should have done a lot better with. But maybe that's game time, playing regularly, that maybe in 2-3 months he's probably scoring those. But he opened up a lot of the game. He progressed the game very well, and as soon as he got the ball, he progressed through the thirds. You see where he took it from about the halfway line, took on a lot of the team for Richarlison's sort of weak effort. Obviously, it was the man that started the second goal in terms of his pass to Kudos. So I thought he played really well. I don't think it's a big surprise to anybody when he came on in the number 10 that he wasn't going to unlock a lot of the Brighton defensive midfield. They certainly stood off a little bit more, and I think there was a respect thing that came from Brighton as soon as he entered the pitch. That someone here is, there's a player here that can change the game, and I thought he did. So I really hope that he continues in that number 10. I think we need to sort out that left-hand side. And like I said earlier, maybe Kolo Muani might be the one that goes on the left, or we put Richarlison there and Kolo Muani go through the middle. But I'd certainly like to continue to see Xavi Simons as that number 10 that can unlock the defences, because we certainly need it. We were a different team when he came on.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the easy option for Frank might be to stick someone like Simons on the left, because he's a really good player, probably one of our better, if not best, attacking players, and it can coincide play that position. But absolutely clear to see that 10 already is his best role. But we'll move on now to Doncaster. Simon, can I come back to you? How do you feel ahead of this game? 3rd round Carabao Cup. I mean, it should be hopefully a routine win for Tottenham.
Oh man, that's such a scary phrase when it comes to Tottenham. Yeah, it should be, and I'm confident that Frank will have us, ready for that game. What I'm most excited about is actually, and hoping for is actually seeing some of the guys that we haven't had a chance to see play a lot. I'm expecting Kinskin go. I'm expecting Gray to start. Maybe we'll get some minutes from Kulimani at the striker position. Yeah, I'm hoping that he puts out a team with players that we haven't had a chance to see play a lot.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Thank you, Simon. We'll get on to kind of what we think in terms of rotation in a little bit. But Gary, how do you feel ahead of this game? I mean, Simon's right. With Tottenham, we always say, "Oh, this is an easy game," but is this a new kind of Tottenham that we're going to games like this? You have against these smaller teams, and we're just get the job done and no big concerns.
I think we just every season we kind of fall into that same expectation and excitement about what's going on. But we just need to be careful that we're not going to hit a banana skin here. They're not a fantastic team. We should beat them every single day of the week. But there is obviously a time where, this is, in a theory, their biggest game, right? This is just a routine game really for us. So we need to make sure that there's no banana skins. But I think getting some minutes into legs is paramount. There's a young man in our under 21s, I guess, mainly, that I think should be playing at some point. So on Wednesday, I'll be at the game, so I really do hope that Luca Williams-Barnett makes an appearance. If you're not aware of him, he's 16 years old. He plays in our under-21s, also plays in our UEFA Youth League. This year in the Premier League 2, 4 games, 4 goals, 2 assists. Plays in the number 10. He's absolutely outstanding as a footballer. A bit lightweight, obviously. He's 16 years old, so he's still growing into his body. But it's a big, he's relatively tall for his age. Technically very, very gifted. Could be something extremely special. And the way that he started the Premier League too, and the way he sort of tore Villarreal apart last Tuesday in the UEFA Youth League, I think that he deserves, at minimum, to sit on the bench with someone like Janelle Byfield as well. I'd like to see a number of, especially those two play, but I think there'll be a number of others playing. Davis, Kinski, Mawani. I think Odeberg will play as well. Gray, and I think it's a good period and opportunity for these players to get minutes in their legs, but also to show Thomas Frank and the staff what they're made of.
Thank you, Gary. I've always thought to myself, start these players from the start and have your kind of senior players if it goes wrong for whatever reason on the bench. I hate sometimes that, I'm not saying that Frank will, but we've seen with Tottenham over the years, we've done it the other way around. And I think, why? I wouldn't do it that way. I'd personally, or you could, you could go really strong and you could go 2-3 up, then make those changes. But I just find with Tottenham, we do it the wrong way. We either start all the kids or all the second team and it goes wrong, rather than, in my opinion, you integrate a couple of those players into the first team or into like a B team. Let's say we play like a kind of a decent, okay second team and you chuck 1 or 2 players in. But over the last few years, we've just done one extreme or another.
We did it in the Europa League last season, didn't we? With Ajayi come on and Mikey Moore, obviously both scoring. And I agree with you. Giving them opportunities is great. It's whether the experience is around them. Is someone like Janai Byfield, who's 16 as a centre back, ready? No, he would probably get found out in the senior game on Wednesday, but should he get a part if we're 4 or 5 up? Yeah, absolutely. He was on the bench of Champions League on Tuesday, but played 2 hours before at Tottenham away for the under 18s. So it's difficult. I think it's where they are as in their progression as a player. Those 2 that I've mentioned are both 16 and may just not be ready to start. However, if they were, I'd be delighted because I've watched every game they've played this season and been really impressed. But I do really agree with you that there's this opportunity that we can give some of our youngsters the time to play, but we do have quite a large squad that still those players that are integral to us long term need some minutes.
I think from Frank's perspective, I also think it's important to win. It's obviously important to win for us fans too, but I think he's a new coach. He's got this momentum. He's got this record that's looking really good. I think for him, he would want that win, obviously, because one of his, in his brief, it's to be competitive in all these competitions. So he can't throw one of these competitions away. I think if you look back at someone like Pochettino or other coaches that we've had, the focus has been more outspoken about, the Premier League or getting 4th or whatever. Now, specifically, the brief is to be competitive in all these competitions. So I think that's an aspect you have to think about when you do your fantasy lineup for the game. And I think part of that is to find a balance to start with, as you mentioned, Harry. Meaning you might want to have, or you want a spine in the team of players that we've seen start a couple of games. It could be Romero, Van de Ven starting. It could be Paulinho, Bentancur. Luckily, we have our young midfield stars they've been incorporated and played minutes in terms of looking at Sar and Bergvall. So having one of those in, so you have a spine in the team that will give you some foundation that will keep up the standard of play. Because if you throw in, 11 players that haven't played together or played at all, that's when we've seen kind of the issues that we've seen before when it's been more of an A team and a B team. We have an A team, and then on the B team, we throw in 8 players that haven't played for, weeks and weeks. And I think this is another part why the rotation is important because Arndt has rotated players a lot. It's going to be easier to field the team now that will be able to keep up standards with the standards that we've kind of put out there for these first couple of months.
But Simon, do you agree that this is the right opportunity to rotate and also rest players?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can get in probably like 6, 7 players in there that haven't played a lot. I'm thinking about Gray, Davis, Kinski, Danso, Kulumwani, Odeberg, Johnson, Tell. But then you have a couple of players in there. I think you're going to need to play one of the center backs. Probably going to need to play one of the midfielders. And then you play maybe Jed, someone like that. You have like a spine in the team of players that played a lot and, makes it all easier for the new guys.
Exactly. And that is my point. I just feel like we've drastically typically changed too much. I remember Conte, I think it was Morecambe's a good one at home, changed the whole team, first 11. We're losing 1-0 till the end, had to bring Mora, Son and Kane on, I believe, to win 3-1 just about. And that equalised, by the way, coming like the 91st minute. So we proper left it late and then it just collapsed, Morecambe, after that one.
But it's going to be easy now because even if you look at Gray or Jed, or they've played, right? So it's going to be easier to get that mix right.
Absolutely. I find, Gary, that you mentioned those 2 players at 16 is quite scary. The same age as me. The thought was stepping on the pitch at Tottenham. It's just like, wow, just a crazy thought there.
But you think that they might be saying the same thing about you presenting a podcast for what, 18 months, 2 years? And this is a scary thing to do.
Wait. Harry, are you 16?
Harry's 16 years old.
I thought you were 18.
He did say earlier, did you? Yeah, no.
He wishes he was, because I could have got him some sponsorship deals.
No,
exactly.
We got a real star boy on our hands here.
Exactly. So you've got to think of, this is quite daunting. The fact that at the moment, I'm sat here looking at a TV screen.
I've always been impressed with you, Harry, but I'm even more impressed now.
Oh,
you've got to think of that. Yeah, and it's a bit different to sitting out in 60,000 people. I get that. But equally, you're putting yourself out here to however many hundreds and thousands of people that watch, and we're all putting ourselves out here to be criticised. And at 16, that's incredibly brave to do. So you should give yourself more credit than you do.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you, Gary. You've been amazing.
You work really hard at it.
Simon.
I know.
Oh, thank you. I try. We try. Thank you very much. It's very kind of all of you. Let's end then with some score predictions and how we think the rest of the Carabao Cup campaign for Tottenham, if we're still in it by Wednesday, we should be, goes. Let's start with score prediction then. Simon, I'll come to you. Your score and who you think is going to score.
Listen, so I'm Swedish. If you ask me about Serie A and the French league or the German league, I have a little bit more knowledge than I do when it comes to League One and the Championship. So I actually don't know anything about Doncaster, so it's really hard for me. But let's say 3-0.
3-0.
Is that crazy?
No. It's nice. I'm just happy thinking that
we haven't got. They're giving me nothing here. Nothing. They're just smiling.
I'm just praising it. No, I'm just enjoying the fact that we can comfortably sit here and back us even against this type of team to keep a clean sheet. It's just it's quite nice.
I definitely think we'll keep a clean sheet for sure.
Lovely. Well, we should. Absolutely, Simon. I mean, there's just always going to be that element of doubt. There is in me. There will be with, I'm sure, you as well, other Spurs fans, just how we've treated these kind of games over the years. But I think we're in a lot better position now. So 3-0 from Simon. Gary, can I get your score prediction?
I think that we take it seriously, but we take it seriously in terms of using the squad that we have and integrating a number of younger players in with around the bench. For me, a cup is non-negotiable. Really, we should always be trying to win these, and we should put everything we can into winning them. And we have to remember, even though he's no longer with the club, that the whole video that he put out saying that we must compete on all fronts. And Thomas Frank has said that a number of times. So I think that we do go here looking relatively strong. I'm actually going to back Simon. I was going to say 3-0 as well. There is, and I know a bit more about Doncaster than perhaps he does then. But for me, I think a number of the players playing, Kinski plays, I think Jed Spence plays at right back. I think Ben Davis probably plays at left back. I think we've got Danzo and one of the two main starters at centre back. I think you've got Archie Gray in the middle. I think you'll probably have, it might surprise you, I think Basuma might play. For some reason, I've got a feeling, and the comment that he made after the game against Brighton, or it might have been before, where he said nobody's out. I've got a feeling potentially he might. And then I think our forward line is Kolo Muani, Johnson, Odegaard. I think a lot of our main guys get a rest. But 3-0 for me. I'll be at the game. Hopefully it's more than 3-0 so we can see lots of goals at Tottenham Stadium.
Fingers crossed. Let's hope so. Thank you. I think I'll back you up then with that 3-0 score prediction. You made me feel a lot more positive. Come on then. 3-0s. That feels good to say. But the final question is how far we'd go this year in the Carabao Cup. So, Gary, can I start coming back to you? If you had to put your neck on the line, how far are we going to go in this competition?
If it was me, I'd put everything we've got into winning it. I'm a big fan of the FA Cup, though. To me, that still means a huge amount. The first time I really watched Tottenham was in the FA Cup, so kind of a nice full circle moment. And oddly, they won it that year. It was 1991, and we've never won it since. So maybe I'm the jinx on that.
Maybe you are.
I would like us to win a trophy this year, either of the domestic trophies for me. So I would like us to go all the way if we can.
Lovely. And do you think we will? You said you want to. Do you think we can?
I'll, if it makes any difference, I'm happy to put some money on it. If that makes any difference.
Okay. You think we will then? I'll take that.
I'll put
That's
a bet on it. I might cash it out, but I'll put a bet on it.
No, I'll take that. We'll go with the first bit. So you think we can and maybe will win it? Thank you.
We could, yeah.
We could, yeah. No, it's more realistic. Simon, go on. You're the really ambitious one, the optimist. Come on. What you saying?
I'm the optimist, absolutely. Yeah, I'm 100% in on everything all the time. So
You are?
listen, I think actually Frank is a pretty good coach to have in cups. I think his approach with being defensively solid is a kind of proven effective way of going far in cup competitions. I think Champions League is a specific, very challenging, ambitious, very hard, close to impossible cup for us to win this year. But I think we have a real shot at these other cups. And I also feel like, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like a couple of big teams have gone out already, or am I confusing that with the FA Cup?
Yeah, no, I don't think. No, Man United are out, aren't they?
Manchester United.
Yeah, FA Cup's not happening.
Forest. No, you got Forest and Man United to come to my head
Forest
instantly.
United are out,
Yeah.
Villa.
Oh, yes, they did, didn't they? I swear they went out.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I think they went out.
Anyways, I think I watched it.
I think he's going to take it seriously, and as Gary said, I mean, I don't think people realize how important these briefs are. Like, the brief is kind of the agreement you have with the coach about what's the priority and what he's going to deliver. And I think getting a cup is a really good way for him to follow that European trophy up with something he can actually win. It's attainable, and I think he's going to take it seriously. So I actually think we have a really good shot at winning it all.
Will we win it?
We will win it.
Yes, love it. That's what we want. Thank you. And to answer your question, you're right about Villa. They lost to penalties on Brentford. I mean, I was joking with a Villa fan that I met in the college, like after 2 or 3 games, saying that, oh, you're going to struggle this year, you're going to be in the bottom half. And I thought Villa would struggle, but it's kind of a light-hearted joke. But I look at them and they can't put the ball in the back of the net, man. What's going on? They're really struggling. Unai Emery. I mean, I will say with Emery, before we wrap up, that I always think he can take a team so far, but always seems to come to a stop eventually. I suppose it does for everyone, but it always seems to just get somewhere to a point. Arsenal, Villarreal, and that's it. And by the way, I meant to read this out earlier. I'll read it now just to add context of why I think the Brighton result for Tottenham, a 2-2 draw, is actually good. Brighton's home record against the Big Six in the Premier League since the start of last season. Here's the following. So they won 2-1 against Manchester United. Beat us 3-2, Tottenham. Beat Manchester City 2-1. Drew 1-1 with Arsenal. Won 3-0 against Chelsea. Won 3-2 against Liverpool even last season. Won 2-1 this season against Man City and drew with us 2-2. So they're unbeaten at the Amex against the top 6 since last season, the start of last season as well. So just add a little bit of context to why Tottenham deserve a little bit of praise. Pat on the back, I would say. Don't want us to celebrate the draw. You got Arteta like he did against City. Clearly happy with the point. We don't want to get to that point, but you've also got to recognise and look, mentality, we fought back. Well, difference is we're European champions; they're not. But that on a nice way to end.
We ran after the ball when we scored the second. When we scored the second goal, we ran into goal and got the ball.
They didn't. They weren't interested in winning the game. Yeah,
but
they want to be champions
against Brighton.
Well, that's why the bigger team. Come on, absolutely right. But thank you both for joining me. Thank you everyone to listening. If you're listening live on YouTube, please, of course, still not too late to get involved. If you're new, like, subscribe, listen to the podcast platform after, drops a follow and a 5-star review. Shout out to our 2 partners in the Kitman and our new partner, very proud to say still, Everything Spurs. Let's go through and see when you can find these guys on social media. Firstly, Simon, thank you very much for coming on, joining us from Sweden. Obviously, a little bit later there, so I really appreciate you coming on. Where can people find you?
You find me on Twitter and Instagram, Simon Yemane. That's where I'm at. But if you're a Spurs fan, Twitter is the place to go. I'm also on Blue Sky, I think, but I don't post that as much yet.
Love the comment in the YouTube chat saying thanks for the liquor show. Well, that wasn't the intention, but we do love a good sidetrack here at the podcast. It's still technically Spurs related, right? We can claim that, right? Former Spurs player. Gary, though, thank you very much for coming on. Always great to have you on. Where can people find you across social media? Everything about what you've got coming up, etc.
Yeah, Twitter mainly. I've just started YouTube stuff as well. I've just turned 40 a week ago, so I've decided I'm going to do some YouTube stuff, and I've started a TikTok as well. My daughter keeps telling me she's going to get more likes than me, so at the moment I'm about 20 likes behind. So if you want to find me on there and help me out, that'll be great. So but you can find me pretty much anywhere as Gary R. Ward.
Is that the same for TikTok? I'll just follow you now.
It is. I think so, unless I've set it up wrong.
No, you have. No, you've done it right.
Yeah,
we get you above. We'll get you above.
I need some more likes.
I'll be on that.
I've got some bragging rights in the household between me and my 9-year-old. He's also doing.
Love it. Little competition.
Rum Swizzle, which is the best YouTube name I've ever heard. I'm sure he's a lovely guy as well.
Someone in the YouTube chat, absolutely. Thank you very much. Also, was there a personal thank you? I've just been alerted while being on here that I've actually been nominated for the Football Content Awards 2025, so 3 years running. So thank you very much. I think it's in the best young content creator category. So apologies for not being prepared for this. I was at college and did not see this. So just bear with me. I'll confirm that now. But it's in one out of the 2 categories that I was put forward in, and I can confirm it's the best young content creator, so I'll send out all the links to that. But thank you very much, guys, for everyone that did vote for me to become a finalist. It's in Leeds this year, and 31,000 people went forward and tried to nominate themselves, and only 1,500 people got through as a finalist. So that's fantastic. Very, very grateful. And thanks to all my fabulous guests I get on here and all you guys for voting and listening and making it possible. But without further ado, massive Come On You Spurs. Hopefully next you'll be hearing from me after we beat Doncaster, and we're thinking positively ahead of playing Wolves. But for now, as I did say, Come On You Spurs.